Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya 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 da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da da. Ya da 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 da. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you for that beautiful tone-setting musical introduction. I want to welcome everybody to our service this evening. I am Rabbi Abby Phelps, joined, of course, by our Cantor, Toby Glaser. And we're so excited to greet you all this evening to celebrate the coming in of Shabbat here at Congregation Shereth Israel. So before we go into our service, I want to give an opportunity for a representative of our Board of Trustees to give us a greeting. I believe Stacy Passman is out there somewhere. Yes, I can see her. And she will be offering a greeting this evening. So Stacy, please go ahead. But make sure you unmute first. Uh-oh, are you not able to unmute? Let me do the thing where I invite you to unmute.
We'll do the thing.
There we are. That should work.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, one of those crazy technical moments. Hi, I'm Stacy Passman, and I want to say Shabbat Shalom to everyone here on the call and welcome you on behalf of the Board of Trustees to the Shereth Israel Kabbalat Shabbat service. We're so happy to have you, and we're so excited that these services continue to be so popular, and it's great to see everyone. I can't wait for more talk about Halot at the end.
Yeah, me neither. Always excited to see the beautiful chalot in this congregation because they are truly impressive every time. But before we get to the chalot, we have a whole service to do. We have a Shabbat to welcome. So we'll begin our service with L'chun Ranana, a beautiful song welcoming Shabbat by Joey Weisenberg, who wrote the nigun with which we also opened.
All excellent information, yes. And just so everyone's aware, Jonathan is taking a much-needed week, well, much-deserved week. I don't know if he needed it, but certainly a deserved week in Mexico, and will be back with us next week. So just me and the guitar tonight. Naria Letzur Yeshenu Nekadma Fanav Betoda Bizmirot Naria lo ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 da. One more time. L'chun Ranana. L'chun Ranana. L'Adonai. Naria. צור ישנו נקדמה פניו בתודה בזמירות נריע לו ידי די 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 ידי די 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 ידי די 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 dai.
We sanctify this holy time of Shabbat by lighting candles that signal that we are entering a special and sacred moment. And this evening, we have some special guests who are going to help us light our candles. We're looking for Mitchell Harad. There we go. And I presume that we can see Parker kind of in the background there. I think Zoom is confused about who's the foreground and who's the background. So Parker, you got to scoot up a little bit. But lovely to see you, because I understand that it is your birthday tomorrow. Is that right? You guys should unmute. There you go. Do you have any plans, Parker?
Nope.
Fair enough. Hard to have plans in this moment. Well, thank you for joining us. It's lovely that we get to celebrate your birthday with you. And of course, we're all looking forward to your bat mitzvah, which is coming up in several weeks. So I hope you're enjoying getting ready for that. Anyway, anything else you guys want to let us know before we light our candles?
No.
Say something kind.
I have nothing to say.
It's spring break.
No, okay, cool.
It is spring break. So thank you for spending part of your spring break with us. Why don't you guys go ahead and light those candles?
Ready?
Yeah, if you get the match on the first try, you make us look bad. So good.
Go for it.
No.
Baruch Atanoi Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu v'mitzvosav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Beautiful. Thank you for leading us. As we move forward into our service, we take a moment to greet Shabbat, to welcome this holy day in the form of a beloved whom we are excited to see every week. We sing to our beloved with Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם התפארת לתהילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי היא מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שידברי, כבוד אדוני אלייך נגלה לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We rise rise as we are able. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Some great dancing going on out there. We now invite you to rise for this moment where we formally become a prayer community and responding to one another with the Baruch.
Yadai dai dai, yadai dai 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 dai dai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Yadai dai dai, yadai dai 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 dai dai.
We see God's love for humanity manifest in many ways in all of the beautiful works of God's creation, but also, of course, in the Torah, in mitzvot, in the commandments that God gives us to help us guide our lives toward righteousness. We give thanks for all of those expressions of love with Ahavat Olam.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו וקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, וכשם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Each Shabbat, when we sing Mi Chamocha together, we have the opportunity to reflect upon the freedoms that we possess and are grateful for, and also the freedoms that not everyone in the world possesses, but that we believe all human beings should possess, and for which we pledge to fight. We praise freedom and continue our aspiration to grow it in the world by singing Mi Chamocha together.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, מלכותך ראו בניך, חוקי הים לפני משה ומרים. זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. יאי די די, יאי די די די, יאי די 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 די, יאי די די די, יאי די 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 די, יאי די 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 די, יאי די די די, yay die 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 die, yay die 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 die, yay die die die, yay die 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 die, yay 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 die 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 die, yay die 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 die, yay die 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 die. ונאמר כי ברא אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
When we crossed the Sea of Reeds and looked out into the wilderness, we understood that we had a formidable challenge in front of us to make our way through that wilderness into the promised land. But one of the things we could depend on during that time was God's shelter, the shelter of peace that God extended over our heads. And we too today appreciate that peace when we sing Hashkivenu together. Please join us.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us daily wrong from right, O Adonai. Amen. 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 Amen.
We now invite you to rise as able as we prepare for the Amidah, the standing prayer, the focal point of our service, which we ask God for all the things we need, and we give thanks for all of the things that God provides. Please rise and join us in Adonai Sefatai.
Yadai-dai-dai, yadai-dai-dai-dai, 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 yadai-dai-dai-dai. Adonai Sefatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Yadai-dai-dai, yadai-dai-dai-dai, 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 yadai-dai-dai-dai. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Konei Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We now take a moment for silent prayer. We invite you to offer whatever prayers are in your heart this evening, and we will come out of silent prayer with Oseh Shalom.
שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו
Good evening, everyone. As many of you know, I spent some time during this past year in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where I was sheltering with my partner who lives there while serving our community remotely, as unfortunately the pandemic necessitated. And over the summer, whenever I went out to walk in the parks of Milwaukee or along the shores of Lake Michigan, I got into the habit of looking out for interesting birds. I was inspired in large part by Joaquim Gonzalez, a young man in our community who had recently become bar mitzvah and who had spoken beautifully in his Devar Torah about his love of bird watching and his experience of it as a spiritual and character building practice. So I downloaded the Audubon app and I started looking for birds whenever I was outside and trying to identify them and keep track of my sightings. And in addition to enjoying learning a little bit about Milwaukee fauna, I found the practice of bird watching very soothing. Focusing so intently on signs of life in my surroundings put me into a quasi-meditative state and made me feel calmer and better able to roll with the pandemic punches. As we move forward into springtime and the birds around us grow noisier and more numerous, it's appropriate that we find some discussion of birds in this week's Torah portion, Parshat Shemini. Of course, this parsha is probably best known as the one that includes the tragic tale of Nadav and Avihu, Aaron's sons who bring an unbidden offering of strange fire before God, to which God responds by engulfing them in the flames of their offering. It is a disturbing and somewhat puzzling story, with many explanations having been offered in commentaries and in midrashim as to why, or indeed whether, Nadav and Avihu deserved their fate, and what we are meant to learn from their example. And their story is so compelling that it often overshadows the rest of the parsha, which largely deals with laws of kashrut. But those laws can be just as compelling in their own right, and they have their own moral and spiritual implications. The laws that are contained in Leviticus chapter 11 mostly teach us which categories of animals are kosher or fit for a Jewish person to eat. For example, we're permitted to eat any land animal that both has split hooves and chews its cud, or any sea creature that has both fins and scales. while we are not to eat anything that flies and walks on 4 legs, or anything that creeps along the ground on many legs. Curiously, though, when it comes to birds, we get only a list of specific forbidden species. We're told, for example, not to eat owls or seagulls or ravens, but we get no simanim, no telltale signs like scales or split hooves by which to determine whether a bird might be kosher. And while the birds we are expressly forbidden to eat are primarily birds of prey, not all of them are. In fact, not every creature on this list of forbidden birds is even an actual bird. Bats, for example, are on the list. In fairness, probably a wise animal to forbid if COVID has taught us anything. But there's also ambiguity as to which birds some of these ancient Hebrew terms actually refer to. This has led to a great deal of debate over whether birds that are not mentioned anywhere in the Torah might be considered kosher. Unlike, for example, chickens or turtle doves, which are mentioned in the Torah and are not included in the list of non-kosher birds, so we can safely assume that we are permitted to eat them. One question that pops up perennially in halachic Jewish circles is whether or not turkeys are kosher. You might think that they are, but this is actually a subject of dispute. As a New World bird, the turkey is wholly unknown to the Torah. In fact, the Hebrew term for a turkey is a tarnagol hodu, or an Indian chicken, because when Jews first encountered turkeys, we were told that they had originated in India. So in 2013, when Hanukkah and Thanksgiving coincided for the first time since the 1800s, Ari Shapiro, one of the hosts of NPR's All Things Considered, used this occasion to bring in Rabbi Joshua Heller of Congregation B'nai Torah in Atlanta to discuss the ambiguity around the turkey's status in kashrut. In the course of their discussion, Shapiro pointed out that in many religious communities, a question like this about whether something is legitimate or not would be definitively answered from an authority on high. Shapiro asked, what does it say about Judaism that over hundreds of years, this question just sort of gets debated and people disagree about it and there's no firm resolution? Rabbi Heller responded that this was in fact part of the genius of Judaism. He said, often you will find that there are people on both sides of a question that while there may be wrong answers, there may also be more than one right answer. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate about our Jewish traditions. We have actually been able to survive having variations in liturgy and variations in observance, and somehow been able to still see ourselves as part of a greater whole. Rabbi Heller's words ring very true for me, especially in light of recent conversations I've had with this year's confirmands, whose confirmation ceremony, by the way, will be part of our Friday night's Shabbat service on May 14th. So please join us for that if you can. And in our conversations, many of our confirmands have told me that they greatly value Judaism's embrace of debate and even doubt. They and I love being part of a tradition that considers fostering ongoing open dialogue and respecting dissenting opinions to be just as important as arriving at conclusions. As long as we are all participating in debate, l'shem shamayim, for the sake of heaven, we know we are on the right track. And as long as we can speak in a shared language of Jewish ideas and traditions, we can continue to be part of one people while making space for diversity of thought and practice. Returning to the birds that are listed in Parshat Shmini, perhaps the intention of this list is that as long as we can agree not to eat these forbidden birds, we can make space for a variety of opinions as to which birds we should eat. There is also a deeper lesson implied by the practice of specifying that some animals are fit to eat and some are not. Personally, I have to admit that I have often struggled to connect with the laws of kashrut for a variety of reasons, but I do appreciate them as a mindfulness practice, much like daily prayer or the recitation of a blessing upon encountering something wondrous in nature. Knowing that some animals are forbidden to us forces us to pay close attention to them, to notice which animals we are encountering and to ponder what characteristics they have that might help explain why we are or are not permitted to eat them. Some animal characteristics may even hold moral lessons for us. For example, the Talmud teaches that even if God had not given us the Torah, we could have learned many of its lessons from nature, such as modesty from the cat, which covers up its excretions, and the prohibition on stealing from ants, which allegedly do not steal from each other. And while I am not at all sure that the Talmud is right about ant behavior, the idea that observing nature can reveal moral truths does make some sense to me. And we need not even say that animals are subject to human morality in order to learn morality from observing them. In a conversation I participated in earlier this week with a number of Jewish scholars, Rabbi Daniel Smokler, director of Hillel International's Office of Innovation, suggested that the mere act of closely observing our fellow creatures sensitizes us to their beauty and their struggles and builds our empathy toward them. In Rabbi Smokler's words, the act of observing is a statement of care. As I reflect on this past year of pandemic restrictions, I'm comforted by the notion that having been forced for so long into a passive stance, a stance of observation relative to the rest of the world, has actually yielded some benefits as well as challenges. I certainly have a renewed appreciation for the preciousness of attention, perhaps the most precious commodity we possess in this busy and hyper-stimulated world. I am grateful that I and we can choose to turn our attention toward beauty and struggle, toward the things and people that inspire and nourish us, as well as the things and people that might need our help. So with spring in full swing and summer on the horizon, I look forward to resuming my practice of bird watching. I hope that attuning myself to the birds' elusive movements and their fleeting songs will sharpen my senses and deepen my empathy. And I should add, if you have any favorite bird watching spots in the city, feel free to let me know. Perhaps I'll see you there. Shabbat Shalom. There is, of course, power in our observation, in our ability to pay attention. There's also power in our collective voice. There's extra power to our prayers, we learn, when we come together as a community. And that's why we always take this opportunity to pray for those in our community who are in need of healing. We think particularly this evening of Shoshana Chana Asher, Rabbi Alexander Duchovny, Michael Enery, David Habib, Carol Hemingway, William Kurian, Leonid Londrarenko, Carolyn Reznikoff, Carolyn Olsen-Stellman, Lo Tolson, Sam Weiner, and Chaya Bat-Zlata. And to those names, we add all the names that you are adding in the chat and all the names that you hold in your hearts. We ask that you join us in praying for healing with Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor habracha imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu Mekor habracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, a renewal of spirit, and let us say,
We use the power of our collective prayers to wish for healing for all those whom we love. And we also use that power to celebrate our simchas, our joys, the wonderful occasions that are happening in our lives. We know this evening that we're celebrating many simchas, certainly Parker's birthday, which is coming up tomorrow. I know there are a lot of other birthdays that are around this time. I think Dahlia Kelly just had a birthday. I'm sure there are many more that I am not, alas, aware of. If you're celebrating a simcha at this time, I invite you to share in the chat. Yes, Adrian's got another mile marker for her runs this year, which those are always very impressive to me. So please feel free to share your joys in the chat, and we will celebrate all of them with Shehechianu together.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Amen.
Amen. Ooh, great joys in the chat. Happy birthday, Jeffrey. And congratulations, Monique, on returning to in-person instruction soon. Will be exciting for you, and imagine for your students as well. We continue our service with the Aleinu prayer, the prayer in which we remind ourselves and one another of our obligation to bring about a perfected world. I invite you to please rise and join us in Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and every nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. This evening, we remember for Shloshim, for the first 30 days of mourning, Mary Alexander and Beatrice Weisbrod, great aunt of Peter Bonas. The perpetual memorials in our community are Dr. Elliot Eisenberg and Judith M. Escalante Melvin. We also observe on this evening the following yard sites: Zelda Auerbach, Harry Bloomberg, Jean Cutler, Milton Cutler, Alan Diamond, Louis Gansky, Charles Ginsberg, Mildred Green, Nancy Hirsch, Josephine Magriche, Mark S. Massel, Louis Neustein, Della Piefo, Arthur Art Rosenberg, William Schoenberg, Alexander Shandrovsky, Jack Sladnick, Charlotte Tropp, Henry Wall, Annabelle Winters, Michael Zelmar, and Helen Eleanor Zier. To those names, we add all the names that you are holding in your hearts this evening or have shared with us in the chat. We also think this evening, in the week of Yom HaShoah, of the 6 million who perished in the Holocaust, and all those who were not Jewish who perished alongside of them. We remember all of them with grief and sorrow. And we join together in the words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma tivrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayeh dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Aseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen. May the one who creates peace on high bring peace to us, to all Israel. And together we say, amen. Before we move into concluding our service with Kiddush and Motzi, I'm going to take just a moment for announcements. I cannot ask our executive director, Gordon Gladstone, if he has any announcements because he is on a very well-deserved day of vacation. But I can tell you that I am aware of at least one announcement, which is that immediately following the service, beginning at 7:15 on exactly this link, so you don't have to go anywhere, our youth group City will be holding their annual Yom HaShoah Seder. And if you've never been, it's a really beautiful, moving ceremony. Many of our teens, of our young people participate in it. So if you're curious what's on the minds and the hearts of our teens, this is a great opportunity to see them. So if you can stay for that at 7:15, please do. And of course, please join us for Torah study tomorrow morning if you can. Probably more talk about birds. So if you enjoyed thinking about birds this evening, you'll have what to talk about in the morning. Those are the major announcements I have. Cantor Glaser, do you have announcements you'd like to add?
I've got an announcement.
Oh, Peter Bonos has an announcement. Please go for it.
Sure. So yeah, I just wanted to remind you all of this Wednesday's conversation from the front line with Matan Zamir, who is the Consul General of Israel. And that is going to be happening at 4 o'clock rather than 5. We had previously planned it for 5 o'clock, so don't forget, it's a little earlier. And if you missed that, I'll post it on our YouTube channel, like always. And also, I just wanted to point out, if you haven't checked out our Yom HaShoah music program that was posted on our YouTube account, I think that was on Wednesday, please check it out. Cantor, Toby, and Jonathan Dimmick put together some really touching, amazing pieces and had some fun editing those together. And I think you'll be very moved by the musical presentations. That's all for now.
Thank you. Those are some important announcements. And as somebody who has watched that video, I can vouch that it's really quite beautiful and moving. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, please do. Back to you, Cantor Glaser. Do you have any announcements you want to add?
Just that if you have never been to a choir rehearsal and you are choir curious, please think about, if you are a member of the congregation, please think about coming along on Thursday the 15th. We're going to have a couple of get-togethers, still on Zoom. Hopefully in the future things will change, but still on Zoom, just sing through a few pieces, hang out. It should be a lot of fun. Email me for more information, but 15th of April at 7 p.m.
Thank you. Sounds great. And I'll also say I'm seeing some upwelling in the chat of appreciation for Peter, and I want to appreciate him too. Peter does incredible work for us in terms of programming, but also in terms of all kinds of technological things that he might never have anticipated a year and a half ago would become part of his regular work life. And he does an incredible job. So thank you, Peter, and thank you, Zach Migdale. Oh, yes, thank you. And thank you, Zach Migdale, who is masquerading tonight as Gordon. but is in fact Zach and is also helping us technologically and often does. So yeah, thank you both.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. And we have a new camera that does all kinds of fancy stalking of my face. Yeah, there we go. It's creeping me out, but it's wonderful. And thank you, Peter, for checking out our new technology. So exciting times.
Yeah, taking
not
advantage
gonna
of
look.
possibilities is always good. Well-
Abby was Rabbi Abby was Rabbi Phelps was joking before that it feels like the grown-ups are away because Gordon is not here and Rabbi Graff is not here. So thank you for joining us for our kids service.
Yeah, I will have to say Gordon is not that much of an adult presence though.
Yeah,
True.
fair
That's
enough.
true. That's fair.
Well, we're going to go ahead and move into the conclusion of our service. So we invite you to join us in Kiddush. If you have a glass of wine handy, go ahead and hold it up. And Cantor Glaser will lead us in the prayers over the wine and the prayers that continue our sanctification of this wonderful day of Shabbat.
And then I promise you can get back to talking about challah, because that's why everyone showed up, apparently, right? All right, here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav veratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu. זיכרון למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen. L'chaim.
L'chaim. And speaking of your chalot, if you have a beautiful challah, please feel free to hold it up so that we can all be envious of your beautiful work and of the tasty treat you're about to enjoy. And as you hold up your chalot, please join us in the motzi.
Do we have any fun chalot? I found out, I read an article today that today is the Shabbat after Pesach is called, you make a shlisel challah, which is a key challah, or a challah shaped like a key. There are all these articles about how to make a challah shaped like a key, apparently to wish good omens and good fortune on yourself and your family, and obviously to, celebrate bread again in your life. So here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon.
All right, enjoy your chalot. Beautiful examples just spotlighted a moment ago, and of course many more that we didn't get a chance to spotlight. Oh my goodness, Ruth made a shlisel challah. Oh, that's very exciting.
We missed it. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. All right. Ruth,
can we get it
show
up on
us your
screen?
challah. Oh, there it is. I can see it. I'm going to go ahead and spotlight her for a second. There we go.
Wow. Sorry, I didn't even
notice. Wow, you really did it.
Amazing.
Well, you beautifully anticipated the Cantor's words. Very nice. Thank you for showing off your challah for us. So much as we're enjoying all the festivity of these chalot, we're going to end on what is perhaps a slightly more somber note, but of course we're still thinking of Yom HaShoah, and as we transition into our Yom HaShoah Seder, we're going to conclude our service with a Yiddish song, Oifen Pripitchik. So please enjoy that beautiful music.
Yes, and it's got a lot of verses, but I think I've chosen the second verse I'm going to sing is really the one that kind of conveys the Shoah. It's a piece about a kid who's learning the Aleph Bet, and in the second verse, the parent says, "Wie viel in die Oisius liegen Tränen," which means how many tears lie in these letters that you're learning. And so I think throughout Jewish history we have this mark of learning of our suffering. And so please, commemorate Yom HaShoah with me with this piece. Auf in Pripetschik brennt a Feuerl und im Stub ist heiß. Und der Rebbe lernt kleine Kinderlach dem Aleph Bes. Und der Rebbe lernt kleine Kinderlach dem Aleph Bes. Sitche Kinderlach, gedenksche Teere, was ihr lernt da. Sag she noch amol und tacke noch amol, kommet alle vor. Sag she noch amol und tacke noch amol, kommet alle vor. Als wird älter Kinder werden, werdet ihr allein verstehen, wie viel in die Häuschen legen Tränen und wie viel Gewinn. Wie viel in die Häuschen liegen Tränen und wie viel Gewinn. Sitche Kinderlach, gedenksche Teere, wo sie lernt da. Sag she noch einmal und tacke noch einmal, kommet alle vor. Sag she noch einmal und tacke noch einmal, kommet alle vor. Kommet alle vor.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.